I'm Dr. King. I am an obstetrician gynecologist, and I was asked to share my personal story as to how I became a physician. If you don't know, obstetrician gynecologist is an OBGYN, and if you even don't know what that is a female doctor. So I deliver babies and I do women surgery, see patients in the office, only women. This was my story. I just kind of want some take-home messages for this story to be, everyone's story is their personal journey, and it doesn't have to be like somebody else's. And if you're interested in going into medicine, I hope that this is an inspiring story for you. I grew up in Detroit, Michigan. I went to a high school that was for people who are academically strong, and you have to take a test to get in. It's called Cass Technical High School, and it was an amazing time for me. When I was applying to school, I thought I wanted to be a choreographer, and I did prima ballerina, and I was a dancer for 12 years. But I knew I didn't necessarily want to do the auditioning and the cattle call and all of that. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna go to college, but I didn't know what I wanted to major in. The funny story is that in high school, my high school boyfriend told me, you should be a doctor. And I'm like, why would I do that? I don't want to be in school forever. What I wanted to do was get a condo, have a truck, and live my best life. And I figured maybe I can major in chemistry or pharmacy because I was really good in math and science. So I figured that would be the best way to go. I go to the University of Michigan. It is also another academically strong school. It was a shock for me. Although I was the best of the best in Detroit, I didn't feel like I was necessarily the best of the best in Ann Arbor, Michigan. I was competing with all of these high scholars from all over the world, and it was a bit intimidating for me. I had to study harder. I honestly didn't know where I fit in. After my first year of college, I stayed up at school for that summer. And my roommate and I, we decided to volunteer at a children's hospital. It's called Mott Children's Hospital. And we didn't do anything. All we did was just like play games with the kids or just entertain the kids who were there for long periods of time. And when we did that, I just had an experience come over me. I'm a spiritual person and I don't want to offend anybody, but I did pray about it, and I said, you know, if this is what you want me to do, then I will do it in terms of being a doctor. And that's pretty much how I decided. And I thought that if this was something that the Lord wanted me to do, then it would be easy. No such thing. As I'm going through and I'm taking the pre-med courses now, I'm kind of like a year behind because I didn't become pre-med until my sophomore year. So now I'm trying to take all my courses, and by my junior year, I had a new roommate who was pre-med. And this story, I cannot tell this story without sharing my roommate's story. So she is a brilliant scholar, she's a brilliant doctor. She was just amazing. And so we would study together and we took the MCAT together. Now, if you don't know what the MCAT is, that is the test that you take to get into medical school. And we studied together, we took the test together. Now, this is back in the 90s, so we didn't have email and all of that. On your sheet, you can say, I want to share my scores with all of the schools, or you can check the box with a pencil and say, no, I don't want to share my grades or my scores right now. So I chose not to share it, one, because I wasn't very confident, and two, I wanted to see the scores first before it just went into this atmosphere. And so I got my scores back and I was very disappointed. I was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe that I trained so hard and I studied so hard and my scores were not great. My college roommate, on the other hand, was jamming. I still applied because I said, you know what, I'm gonna see it through. They would have to tell me no. And that's another take home. Let them tell you no. You don't count yourself out. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to apply. Now, I would get the mail some days, or my college roommate would get the mail some days, and I would see all these letters, and I would just put them on her bed or on her dresser. and I had all these rejection letters, and I'm like, wow. Finally, it came towards the end of the season, and I hadn't gotten one acceptance letter, and I just couldn't believe. I was like, did I suck that bad? And that's how I felt. Again, my lack of confidence. And my college roommate had gotten acceptances, and she had gotten interviews, and she was applying to the top schools in the country, and here I am trying to figure out what my next step is going to be. I decided to do something called post-bac. For me, it was a year of studying between undergrad and getting into medical school. So I decided to apply to these programs. Maybe I needed some more training or some more studying to get into the school. When I did that, I got rejection letters from post-bac programs. And I'm like, what is happening? There's only one school that called me, and it was Wayne State University School of Medicine in Detroit. And they called me and they said, your application is incomplete because your MCAT scores are missing. And here's another lesson. I applied to Wayne State School of Medicine. They didn't call, but the post-bac program called. And I said, what do you mean they're missing? I mean, I submitted my scores. So I'm thinking it's their error. I called MCAT, because again, no email or anything like that. This is the 90s. And they said, oh no, you checked the box to not have your scores released. And I said, but after I saw my scores, I was just like, I'm gonna apply. So I wanted you all to send them. And they said, well, how did you do that? I said, well, I told the person on the phone. And they said, no, ma'am, you're supposed to have it in writing. Okay, so I had to find a fax form, find the fax on campus, and I faxed my scores to Wayne State. So another lesson is that you need to be able to read and follow the rules. So I was rejected from every medical school because my file was incomplete without the MCAT scores. Do I know if I would have gotten in? I don't know that, but that wasn't my journey. So long story short, I ended up getting into post-bac program. I did extremely well in the program. And then I matriculated into medical school the very next year. And that was my journey. And that's not typical. Sometimes you may need to take a year or two or do some other studying. And quite honestly, it was the best thing that has ever happened to me. I don't think I would have been ready to go right into medical school. There were some learning gaps that I realized I had once I did post-bac. So it was the absolute best place for me. So I don't want you to ever feel derailed. I don't ever want you to feel like you're not good enough. And doing the post-bac program, not only did it give me the clinical or the science that I needed, but it gave me the confidence, and I was able to compete in medical school. So that is my journey. I am Dr. Dara King, and I do wish you luck in whatever you choose to do. Thank you.